Kentucky wants to comply with Real ID, but we're simply not ready. And we're not alone. At least 17 other states are still below 50% compliance, and 30 states are below 70% compliance. If we flip the switch now, millions of Americans could be denied access to air travel and federal buildings. We need more time. And that's a reasonable request. I think there's a lot of ants out there that people in the past, when the deadline came, they figured it's always been delayed. And I think that people have delayed going to get the Real ID. And we're experiencing long lines at our regional offices, and we're experiencing basically no appointments available. So it's almost a panic of sorts trying to get the Real ID. A lot of people don't understand it. They hear on the news has done media's done a good job of letting people know the deadline's approaching. But a lot of people think they need a Real ID, and they don't. If there's other means of Real ID, the passport card, military ID, all those things work. And if you don't plan to travel, if you're not going to get on a commercial airline flight or visit a military base or a federal courthouse, you really don't need that Real ID compliant ID. And that's part of the problem. And I really appreciate today and hearing this nationally that I can have encourage other legislators and other groups to contact Secretary Noem and let them know what's going on in their state, because I know there's some states like New Jersey is only 17% compliant. Kentucky is just under 40%. Pennsylvania, Washington State, and Maine are at like 27% compliant. So we're not alone here in Kentucky. We're not the Lone Ranger when it comes to non-compliance. We're at 40%. We're simply not ready. And I think it's a big problem if this is implemented. I can tell you for a fact, I'm hearing from constituents and my fellow legislators, hey, this is a problem. This is a real problem. TSA's own statistics, only 56% nationally are Real ID compliant. So not only in Kentucky, but across the nation, we're going to see folks that go to the airport, show up at the airport and denied access. Now, TSA did do send out a phase in of this, where they're not going to, that allows TSA and the Department of Defense, Department of Veterans Affairs, it allows all of them to make some exceptions or to phase this in. But there's no clarity or consistency to that. So VA could do it completely different than TSA does it. You might be able to board a plane, but not be able to go to VA. So it needs to be consistent and very clear, because I think the American public and my constituents here in Kentucky are somewhat confused by all this. And I think a lot of people delayed getting a Real ID simply because the federal government, every time this deadline has approached in the past, I think it's 5 times, they have delayed it. So again, I'm asking for a delay and some clarity and guidance and consistency going forward when this deadline is really going to be a hard deadline, and to work to make sure that people have ample time and know the real consequences of not having a Real ID, and to really understand who needs a Real ID, who doesn't, and know the options, because 25% of Kentuckians have a passport, and a passport is a Real ID. Myself, I voted no on Real ID. I carry a passport card for my Real ID. So, that's just an example of some of the things folks can do. If we delayed it for a year, constant updates and communicating with folks that, hey, this is really going to happen in May or June of 2026. it's really going to happen. And like I said, the inconsistency of the federal government in the past, where every time this deadline has come up, they've delayed it. And I think we've trained people to ignore that deadline. Back when Kentucky implemented this, I thought that there was a better way of doing it. This is a federal program. I said, let's let the federal government deal with it. If somebody wants a travel document, let's get them to get a passport. There's a whole lot more post office divisions in Kentucky than there is regional offices. So that was my plan. I was not able to convince anyone, and it didn't seem like that would comply with the federal law that was passed. So that didn't happen. But it definitely needs to be more study done on this. Or are we going to implement it? Are we not? And I'm not against security. I think we definitely need security, and we need security, especially in our skies. But is real ID, is it right? Is it what we want to do? And but I do know this: we need more time.